Tonight, he's one of the most famous athletes in the world. Now a teammate tells 60 Minutes Lance Armstrong cheated, taking a banned drug.
I saw him inject it more than one time.
I'm Katie Couric, also tonight making medical history.
They said you'll never walk again, you'll never take a step, nothing.
But he did with an experimental new therapy for paralysis. As the president spells out a new vision for the Middle East, we'll talk with his Secretary of State and a look back at the stories we've shared over the past 5 years.
From CBS News World Headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. At times, Lance Armstrong has seemed superhuman. Cancer nearly killed him, but he beat the disease and went on to conquer cycling's most grueling challenge and did it over and over again. Some say there's no way he could have won all those races without cheating. And now in a 60 Minutes interview, one of his former teammates says that's exactly what Armstrong did. More now from Armin Katayan.
Armstrong wins the Tour de France. In the face of more than a decade of accusations and investigations, there was a line 7-time Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong says he never crossed: the use of illegal performance-enhancing drugs.
I have never doped. I can say it again, but I've said it for 7 years. It doesn't help.
But now in an interview set to run on 60 Minutes this Sunday, one of Armstrong's closest former teammates, U.S. Olympic gold medalist Tyler Hamilton, tells correspondent Scott Pelley the details behind what Hamilton claims was Armstrong's systematic doping.
Hamilton told us that Armstrong was doping the very first time he won the Tour. One of the drugs was called EPO, which boosts production of red blood cells to enhance endurance.
He was using EPO in the Tour de France in 1999.
Correct.
He was using EPO in the Tour de France in the year 2000.
He used it before to prepare for the Tour.
And what about the Tour in 2001?
He used it to prepare for the Tour. I can't say that he used it during the Tour.
What did you actually witness?
I saw it in his refrigerator, you know. I saw him inject it more than one time.
You saw Lance Armstrong inject EPO?
Yeah, like we all did. Like I did many, many times.
Hamilton's high-flying career crashed in its own drug scandal. Today, Armstrong is currently under investigation for doping-related charges by a federal grand jury in Los Angeles, which is known to have taken testimony from both Hamilton and another American rider said to have direct knowledge of Armstrong's illegal drug use. In a statement to 60 Minutes, an Armstrong attorney cites the fact Armstrong is the most tested athlete in history, passing nearly 500 tests over 20 years of competition, and that stories of this kind are motivated by the desire for money and the need for attention. Katie.
Armin Katayan. Armin, thank you so much. And you can see the full report on Lance Armstrong this Sunday on 60 Minutes. Now to a truly remarkable story, new hope for people with paralysis. There are more than 5.5 million in this country alone, including nearly 1.3 million with a spinal cord injury. Now, for the first time, a patient paralyzed from the waist down, a 25-year-old man, was able to stand up on his own and take a few steps. Dr. John LaPook tells us the credit goes to an experimental new treatment.
Rob Summers was a star college pitcher 5 years ago when a hit-and-run accident left him paralyzed from the waist down.
They said you'll never walk again, you'll never take a step, nothing.
They were wrong. Today, researchers working with the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation announced Summers is the world's first patient to stand using a new therapy that could fundamentally change the treatment of paralysis.
I stood, independently, stood, after not having moved anything for 4 years, and I stood.
The landmark findings are published in the journal Lancet. They challenge conventional thinking that signals from the brain are needed for walking.
What we've really discovered is that the neurons in the spinal cord, the nerves in the spinal cord, can do all the same things as the nerves in the brain.
Summers' injury disrupted the nerve pathway that normally triggers walking. Researchers implanted an electrical stimulator at the base of the spine that, along with special exercises, allowed his legs to move without input from the brain.
Left leg up.
Stand about an hour a day. I can move my toes, ankles, knees, hips all on command. I've started regaining abdominal strength and can do sit-ups now again.
He's also made other meaningful progress, regaining bladder and sexual function. But he's still wheelchair-bound, and doctors cannot say whether he'll ever walk again on his own. But every day he remembers the first time he stood up.
It's that moment there that continues to give me the hope for tomorrow and the future for this project and helping out millions of other people in my same situation.
He's only able to take steps with help when the stimulating device is plugged in the lab, so it's nowhere near ready for widespread use. Katie?
Well, put this in perspective for us, John. How important is this?
Katie, this has never been done before. You have a guy who was paralyzed for years, and now he's able to stand up on his own, even take a few steps on a treadmill. That's amazing.
And very, very exciting. John LaPook, John, thanks so much. And there will be more about this story when Rob Summers and his doctor appear tomorrow morning on The Early Show. Turning to other news now, a judge here in New York today ordered Dominique Strauss-Kahn released on bail. Strauss-Kahn resigned last night as head of the International Monetary Fund, saying he needs to devote his time to fighting charges he sexually assaulted a hotel maid. A grand jury indicted him just before his bail hearing. Michelle Miller has the story.
Former IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn smiled at his wife and daughter as he entered the courtroom to ask the judge to release him from his cell on Rikers Island.
The prospect of Mr. Strauss-Kahn teleporting himself to France and living there as an accused sex offender fugitive is ludicrous on its face.
The prosecutors argued one of the world's most powerful bankers is a menace and a flight risk.
We have a man who, by his own conduct in this case, has shown a propensity for impulsive criminal conduct.
Strauss-Kahn was required to post $1 million in bail and an additional $5 million in insurance. He also must wear an electronic monitoring bracelet and remain under guarded 24-hour house arrest at an apartment rented by his wife, Ann Sinclair. And like Bernie Madoff, he must pay for his own private security.
It's a great relief to the family to be able to have him with them.
And Strauss-Kahn will have to spend one more night at Rikers Island before his release tomorrow. His next court date is June 6th. Katie?
Michelle Miller, thanks very much, Michelle. In another criminal investigation, the FBI has asked the man known as the Unabomber for a DNA sample in the still unsolved 1982 Tylenol poisonings in Chicago. Ted Kaczynski, serving life in prison, denies any involvement in the Tylenol case, which left 7 people dead. And sources say he is not a suspect, but his DNA could rule him out for sure if prosecutors ever bring a case against someone else. Turning now to the Middle East, where the political dynamic seems to change every day. And on this day, President Obama outlined his vision for the region: Arab countries that embrace democracy and a Palestinian state that coexists peacefully with Israel. What he said after that sparked new controversy. Here's Chief White House correspondent Chip Reed.
President Obama spent most of his speech talking about the Arab Spring uprisings, but he saved his biggest surprise for the Middle East peace process.
We believe the borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines.
But by using the borders that existed in 1967 before the Six-Day War as a starting point for negotiations, the president is taking the Palestinian side on a key issue. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today those borders would leave Israel indefensible and said he wants a retraction when he meets with the president tomorrow in the Oval Office. On the Arab Spring, the president praised the courage of the protesters and said the U.S. must now change its approach after decades of supporting tyrants.
We had the chance to show that America values the dignity of the street vendor in Tunisia more than the raw power of the dictator.
He had his strongest words yet for one dictator, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, whose forces have killed hundreds of protesters demanding a transition to democracy.
Well, President Assad now has a choice. He can lead that transition or get out of the way.
Some Assad critics say the president didn't go far enough, that he should have simply called on him to step down now. Katie?
Chip Reed. Chip, thank you. So does the administration really want Syria's president out? I put that question to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. next on the CBS Evening. In his speech about the Middle East today, President Obama singled out Syria's president for his crackdown on protesters. The administration has hit him with new sanctions to pressure him to bring about reform. But is the real goal to force him out? I asked that when I interviewed Secretary of State Hillary Clinton earlier today.
Well, I think President Obama was very clear. And what we want is to continue to support the voices of democracy, those who are standing against the brutality. But we're also well aware every situation is different. And in this one, Assad has said a lot of things that you didn't hear from other leaders in the region about the kind of changes he would like to see. That may all be out the window, or he may have one last chance.
At the same time, you know, this Syrian regime is close to Iran. They're getting support from Iran for their tactics of suppression, if you will. They support terrorist groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. So why not just say he needs to be removed?
Well, you're right that Iran is supporting them, and we're calling them out on it. But I think we also know that there are many different forces at work in Syria, and we think it would be better if the people of Syria themselves made it clear to Assad that there have to be changes.
The whole notion of regime change isn't working very well in Libya, is it?
I disagree with that. I think we are seeing slow but steady progress. The pressure on the Gaddafi regime has increased to the point that Gaddafi's wife and daughter fled across the border into Tunisia in the last 2 days. The oil minister has defected. So we're making progress. I wish it would go faster. They certainly wish it would go faster, but we're on the right path.
Why does the killing of civilians in Libya justify U.S. military involvement, but the killing of civilians in Syria does not?
There's no one-size-fits-all, and there's no magic wand. If there were, we'd be waving it like crazy. And in Libya, what we had was a unique international coalition. What we're seeing now is increasing pressure on Syria. We're seeing the European Union taking actions, us upping the actions, and I think you'll see more in the days to come.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has become more insulated. The Obama administration has been criticized for not working hard enough to move the ball forward in the peace process. Fair criticism?
Not at all fair. And what the president said today was, we want to see negotiations, but we're not able to make those negotiations happen. But we know that without negotiations, there will be no end to the conflict, no end to the claims, and no two-state solution.
When it comes to harboring Osama bin Laden, I know you're trying to find out what did they know, when did they know it, and who knew. Clearly, someone did. What is the U.S. going to do about Pakistan?
We believe that it was not proven that anybody at the top of the government in Pakistan knew where bin Laden was, but it seems likely that somebody did know. I said that the first time I went to Pakistan. I said, it's hard to believe that somebody in your government somewhere, and it could be some very low-level person, doesn't know where he is. And we're having very candid conversations with our Pakistani partners. But we expect more. We're having conversations about what more we can do together.
And Secretary Clinton says she may visit Pakistan, but so far no date is set. Coming up next, the rush for a chance to get rich on the biggest internet IPO since Google. The big news on Wall Street today was the initial public offering for LinkedIn, the first U.S.-based social network site to go public. In the first day of trading, the price more than doubled. But that means the stock is now valued at more than 500 times what the company is earning, raising concerns about another internet bubble. Here's business correspondent Anthony Mason.
A feeding frenzy surrounded the LinkedIn booth on Wall Street. The stock, priced at $45, opened at $83, then soared into triple digits before closing up more than 100%.
Everybody wanted in, and they were all running through the revolving door at the same moment.
All that for a company that made only a $15 million profit last year. But LinkedIn has 100 million users, professionals who use it to network and share their business credentials, like Jonathan Fitzgerald, marketing director of an entertainment law firm in LA.
You've got to be on LinkedIn, you've got to participate in social media, otherwise you're just simply not relevant.
The LinkedIn stock offering was seen as a trial run for Facebook, which is expected to go public next year. Maybe it's a bubble, but some analysts say LinkedIn's success now could mean the sky's the limit for Facebook. Katie?
And that means we're not relevant too, right?
Speak for yourself.
Anthony Mason. Anthony, thank you. Meanwhile, in Houston, Gabrielle Gifford's doctor said today her surgery went so well, he's calling her Gorgeous Gabby. Yesterday, he repaired a hole in her skull with a plastic implant, a big milestone for the Arizona congresswoman who was shot in the head in January. Her husband, astronaut Mark Kelly, said from Earth orbits he's pleased with how the operation went. And coming up next, the people we've met and the stories we've reported over the past 5 years. And now, as many of you know, this is my final broadcast on the evening news. It's been an extraordinary privilege to sit in this chair and a real honor to work with so many talented people here at CBS News. We thought we'd take a look back at some of the history-making people and events we've covered. So here now, 5 years in 5 minutes. When you look back on the last 5 years, is there anything that you wish you had done differently?
Yeah, I mean, I wish, for example, Abu Ghraib didn't happen.
I care deeply about stem cell research.
Either he didn't take his medication or he's acting, one of the two.
I could give a damn about Rush Limbaugh's pity. I'm not a victim.
Since Sunday, these Southern California wildfires have burned nearly 400 square miles, an area larger than New York City.
For the record, have you ever used steroids, human growth hormone, or any other performance-enhancing substance?
No.
The gunman came to our class, shot the person that was sitting next to me.
What did you hear?
At first it sounded like hammers on the wall.
I never once considered that, in fact, this administration would betray my identity as payback.
Of the 30,000 additional troops sent here for the surge, more than 26,000 were deployed to secure Baghdad.
When we were on the outskirts, we would drive in every day to conduct patrols. Now we're here permanently. We can walk.
Who is the single most impressive person you've ever met?
It would have to be Nelson Mandela.
It probably would be Ronald Reagan.
Did the addition of 30,000 additional troops help the situation in Iraq?
Katie, there is no doubt that our troops helped to reduce violence.
Are you worried you're going to have to pull your punches a bit? It's a different dynamic, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
Hey, can I call you Joe? Okay,
The United States is deeply unpopular in Pakistan. Do you think the Pakistani government is protecting al-Qaeda within its borders?
I don't believe that new President Zardari has that mission at all.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
Who's to say you're reading the tea leaves accurately now? The haunting image of a young woman dying in the street has now been seen all over the world. You have consistently denied the Holocaust happened. These are dead bodies from a German concentration camp. Is this photo a lie?
There are many historical events. Why is this one in particular so important to you?
This is Cactus 1539. We may end up in the Hudson.
When did you realize the engines had failed?
I knew immediately that it was very serious.
3,240. The number of days the war here has gone on.
I'm pleased to nominate General David Petraeus.
Are you disappointed things aren't as stable, and are you concerned they could unravel as combat forces lead the country? Is it all over your face and it's healed? This is the corner where an SUV was parked full of explosives. Nearly every street is an obstacle course of debris and the dead. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Squeeze my hand.
Why? Why? Why?
It's inhumane. Like, no person would actually keep their animals in this state.
Frantic preparations are underway for yet another attempt to stop this massive oil leak.
It is like chocolate syrup, isn't it? It's so thick. They continue to pray for the wounded as doctors inside treat the victims, including Democratic Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords.
They've given us permission to take her down to the launch, so we're pretty excited about that. Yeah.
I bet you are. If President Mubarak thought last night's announcement was going to restore stability, apparently it's done quite the opposite. Now pro and anti-Mubarak demonstrators. A record earthquake in Japan triggers a mammoth tsunami.
I can report to the American people, the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Tonight, the man who ordered the attack that destroyed the towers is dead. A very modern wedding for a very modern couple.
There are places I remember.
Fabulous.
All my life.
Sorry it's such a crummy day. That was when you were living on the street? How many people come up to you and ask you to say, go ahead, make my day?
Quite a few.
Would you do it for me?
Go ahead, make my day.
Hello, how are you? And to all of you watching, thank you so much for coming along with me on this incredible journey. That's the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Good night.